Great morning, world. Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon.
Get into the float state with Calmer Mind meditations and gear.
Great morning, friends. Very excited about this. This is a superhero friend of mine, just somebody that I've had the opportunity of watching just grow exponentially, and we're gonna pick her apart in that sense. But we've also just somehow, I think it started on a cruise ship. We just became really, really good friends. And I guess what's interesting about becoming good friends is we have not a lot in common in many aspects, but I think it's our personalities, which is a touch twisted, that just made us great friends. And I'm just so thankful because I don't keep a lot of friends, and this is one of them. And I will say, I want to speak on behalf of my lovely chicken. We just, the greatest wedding gift we ever got was from this woman right here. I was telling her the other day, she was talking about making these massive deals and investments and just going like intergalactic with her financial success. And I'm like, what's the most exciting thing that happened to us this year is we got a like advanced high level Roomba vacuum that cleans our place, and chicken calls it Dustin Bieber. So I want to welcome everybody to just this amazing individual. Her name is Suzy Heyman, and she's going to share some really, really cool stuff in a very, very quick, compacted time span. So, Suzy, how are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Impressed by that intro. A little scared at the end, but you're funny. And, I've been called twisted before, so I can handle it.
Yeah, and twisted is in this sense is a really good thing. Okay, so let me just get this teed up. So Suzy is a real funny person. We could have a whole conversation just about personalities and thought processes and stuff. But Suzy's playing a very, very big game. And what I want to do is I want to extract a little bit of her story because it's a unique story. Whenever you see somebody like Suzy Heyman, who's just built a massive, massive empire of a business, and she's got thousands and thousands of people that she's helped earn lots of income. We work in one context. We work in the same space in the coaching world. But Suzy's just gone and elevated it to a whole new level where she's starting to like just go to this place that most people don't even think about going. So, Suze, what I want to do is I want to normalize you and put a little bit of a human context into a little bit of your story. So, if you could just go back, because you've always been an intelligent person. You've always had your eyes on numbers and money and freedom and stuff like that. But it was a little bit of a bumpy road before you figured things out. So take me from where you used to be to when you made the distinction and learned how to really, really start leveraging your time and money.
Yeah, it was, I've always felt like this inner greatness in me, always. I can remember from being a little girl, and I always liked the finer things. But, my family went through a hardship. I grew up well off. My family, I just say, I want to do this. They pay for it. That's all I knew. But then later in life, when I was around 25, 26 years old, my family lost everything. And so I had to step into the role and actually start paying for everything and helping out my family. And I had just graduated from college. I went back to school and became a dental hygienist. And I got my 4-year degree in that. And so I was proud to do that for them because they helped me with everything. I wouldn't be who I am without them. But I went on to get married for the first time, and it was great. We had a nice life, and then things started to shift. Things got a little rough, and we went a little too big into our endeavors. We bought a business that was way bigger than we can handle, me and my ex-husband, and it put us into a financial rough place when it all kind of crumbled. So eventually I had to file bankruptcy. It was really, really rough. We got divorced. I got remarried, and it never gelled again. But I knew inside me, I'm a hard worker. I was always starting some sort of business. I'm very entrepreneurial. It just never really gelled until I felt less of a victim, and I started taking control of myself and my actions. And then finding the coaching that we do really helped, but it still wasn't the change for me. It really was just realizing that I was living like inauthentically. So, I had every piece of jewelry you can even imagine, huge diamond ring, every designer bag, every, fancy watch, everything. Yet I had in 2017, 100 grand of debt. And I was like, this is inauthentically living. I mean, I'm worried about what everyone cares about me, and I'm not taking care of myself. So I went to town, I sold everything. I got very, very lean. And it was hard for my husband, because he enjoyed that lifestyle too, but we sold everything. We went from eating out 4 days a week to maybe twice a month. Even that alone saved 2 grand a month just in tips. And we just attacked our debt, and it became an addiction, just watching it just go down and go down. It was so fun. And then I taught that to my organization, and we all together started getting healthier financially together. And that was the start of it in 2017.
So many gems right there, because we're going to move into some of the concepts that she teaches, because I want to extract that stuff. But, crazy to think about somebody that grew up pretty much having anything she wanted, but then the people that were giving it to her all of a sudden lost everything. And then you see how, because this says a lot about her, you see how she went into action and chose a career that people that know you today would never believe that you were a dental hygienist, but you probably did that just because you went to work and, you didn't know how to leverage your time yet. But one of the things that, she speaks about, because she talks about this concept called the home-based business CEO from zero to empire. And one of the main concepts she talks about is cleaning up your current situation. So I just want to make sure I want you to go deeper into that, but I hear this all the time. It's interesting because most people are focused and obsessed with watching their numbers go up. But did you hear how she said they got obsessed with focusing on their numbers going down? And every person, if you interview anybody that's at the top of the mountain, they all went through this process of leaning up. And it's just such a fascinating thing that I think most people miss. So, Suze, let's switch gears right now, because this is a sprint. Talk a little bit about the home-based CEO, right, which is very, very popular right now, this idea of being a CEO of your own business and from home, because nobody really gets the hell out of the house anymore. But start off by just talking about some of these things that you've done, but that you teach people now, like cleaning up your current situation and stuff.
It's really just taking a look at where your current reality is. That's a hard concept, people. When you're inside of it, it's impossible to see. And so when you really take time and break down where you are financially, where you are in your relationships, where you are in your surroundings, I mean, we can be in some pretty bad places and feel like, this is all I know. I'm comfortable here. And so that's what I work on with everyone. It's really important to understand this isn't what I'm meant for. I'm meant for so much more, but I don't know how. I have no clue how. So we focus on really identifying where you are first, and then what's important to you. What are your goals? If you could not fail, what would you want to achieve in life? And people are like, you see the hesitation. Well, I'm embarrassed to say, but if I could, I'd want to do this. I mean, and there's nothing embarrassing about your goals. It's your mindset that's holding you back and limiting you. So that's the first place where we start. And it's really fascinating how much their mindsets just hold them back so much.
Yeah, so fascinating. So many people are dreaming bigger, but that only makes sense to somebody that allows themselves to dream bigger. Talk a little bit about this process, because when I look at it from zero to empire, zero, one perception would be that that's a bad thing, but I hear you speak about this all the time, that anybody can do this. If anybody follows the recipe, they can bake the pie. So talk a little bit more about that idea of how somebody goes from their current reality, which involves accepting it and not looking at it as good or bad. It just is. But what does it take? Or maybe you can talk a little bit about how do you take somebody that says, I'm ready, right? I'm ready. And they accepted the challenge of looking at their current situation, embracing it, cleaning it up per se. How do you map that out for somebody? What's the process? If the listener's listening right now and they go, yeah, I'm ready, which is probably bullshit, because they're just saying that right now. There's a difference between actually being ready and then following through the action. But talk a little bit about how you map that out. Hold on. There you go.
That is so true when you say, because I hear all day, every day, I'm ready, I want this, but they're actually not, because they're not ready and willing to do the work. Nothing's going to happen accidentally. It's all you. And then you need to pick up momentum with it and pick up speed. So I break it down. I break it down for the financial piece. All I did is I worked on my debts. I listed them out, and it was pretty overwhelming. And then I put it into a spreadsheet to see, oh my goodness, in a year's time, I'm spending over $10,000 just on interest alone. You don't realize that when you're inside of it. So really breaking down where to put your energy. And at that time, I think a great model to follow is just even the Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey, just listing all your debts, a snowball effect, paying down everything at the minimum, and then the bottom one, the most you could put towards it, and just knocking it off. So that's how I started with that and got through the debt. But once you now have money and you don't have debt, it changes. You don't use that philosophy anymore. But that is a slow process. And I've worked with many people. People don't realize where they're spending. If you look at every single thing, somehow we justify, well, I have to have my coffee. You can have coffee in your home for a fraction of having coffee at Starbucks or wherever that you're spending. All this adds up. And so you don't see it every day, but if you cumulatively add it together, they see it, it penetrates and resonates with them. So that's the financial piece. Surroundings, we are all settling. Everyone is settling, and it's sad. People are in some really bad relationships. You are like the 5 people that's been said a million times who you spend your time with, but you have to look at your relationships. And sadly, some of the people who are our closest friends, family, are the ones that are holding us back. It's kind of like, we've heard this all, but that bucket of crabs, there's no lid on it. And the crabs can try to get out, but the other crabs pull them right back down. We never want anyone to be successful. That's the kind of mindset of that bucket. And those are the wrong people to stay around, because you'll believe that. You believe what you're hearing. So really evaluating, it could be a spouse, sadly. It could be, family members. It could be outsiders. For me, what I did is I took away all the negative interactions. I removed it. People, when I started growing and they weren't, they're haters out there. They'd put me down. They put me down on social media, and it would get to my husband. It would bother him. And for me, it used to bother me, and it didn't bother me anymore. I have that block button. Block, 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 block. It doesn't happen if I don't see it. So it really became freeing that I only made sure of who I surround myself with are going to support me, be proud of me, inspired by me, want what I have, are motivated by me. And that was my control there. And it's not easy, but it takes some time. What happens is you have to go through some pain and grow through some pain to get to that other side. I gave up the good to get to the great. I would, be invited everywhere, and I'd go to all these girls' nights out and all these parties. And then when I had my focus shift, that I wanted to work on myself, my business, my financial situation, I would say no. Eventually the invites stopped happening, and it was tough. It was really painful to see it on social media. I wasn't even invited anymore to the same things I went to last year. It hurt until it didn't. And I realized that was a necessary ending for me, had to happen. So, nothing's simple, but if you realize I have goals, and these goals are bigger and stronger than the people who are not going to support me, you really can get there.
I love, what's cool is we started off, and everybody, when you first mentioned, we were talking about cleaning up and leaning up. Most people resonated with the idea of getting rid of stupid things like debt and things like that, it's like one step forward, one step back. But what Suzy just said, she just brought in the concept of the people and the surroundings, the people that you're running with, your mentors and stuff. That's another way of losing weight or leaning up. It's not just about debt. That's another form of debt. It's like the debt that you have to these people that you shouldn't have, so it's like, I think everybody's going to resonate with, maybe the first action step is to clean house. But Suze, how important, and I know the answer to this, but how important is it once you get to that point, how important is it to have the right guide, the right mentor, and the right structure? Because I think a lot of people might go clean house, but then go right back to some shitty structure and mentorship that wasn't working before, that might have actually screwed everything up, right? So how important is it? Because it's risky. It's risky to leave one thing and do another.
Having support is critical. You have to have support. Everyone needs a coach in life. They all need mentors. So find someone who you aspire to be, someone who you can resonate with, someone who you appreciate, who's been through your journey, and ask them to mentor you. And it is easy to fall back. It's very easy. I mean, we're all human. It's easy to, because that's what we know. That's where we were comfortable. So that's kind of the natural progression. But when you have someone that's staying by you, that's cheering you on, that's your mentor, that's your coach, that's your accountability person, they will keep you and bounce ideas off you. They're going to show you why that didn't serve you, because sometimes we can convince ourselves that, like, it's just easier. I don't have it in me. It's just easier. And I was okay there. Okay is not enough. We're not built to be okay. And so it's really important to go for it, not look back. And it's weird how fast it actually can happen, because while you're in it, it feels like it's the longest time ever. But remember, I had $100,000 of debt in 2017, and my life doesn't even, it's like light years beyond that. And that's a short time ago. So, and I would have said that in 2019. I can't believe how far I've come. Even 2018, because, they always say you underestimate what you can do. And, I don't even know the exact quote, but you underestimate what you can do you overestimate what you can do in a short time, but you give yourself some time, you underestimate. You don't realize how much, even this year, in the month of January, I can't even tell you how my life has changed so much. It's all mindset. It's all mindset. So I love working with people. I love watching their financial picture turn around. I've even been on a video call with someone and watched them cut up credit cards because they could not control themselves. And we have to do what we have to do. But it's really fun to watch the improvement of others. And that's an addiction of mine.
Yeah, and it's okay to be addicted to things that are forward moving. I've heard you say one of the things that gets me excited. A lot of things get me excited, but one of the things that Suzy talks about is she talks about, because Suzy's very, very successful. Anybody that knows her, and what's interesting is you're watching somebody that most people would look at and think, man, I'll never be that successful. But Suzy is still using the same model, and now she's hanging around with people that make her feel small. So it never ends. We're never going to be satisfied. Like, what's funny about meeting people at the top of the mountain is the 30 seconds after they get their big payday, they just think about what's next. But Suze, talk a little bit about money, because I hear you talk about the fact that, you've referenced, you say the money's all out there. There's tons of money out there. It's like, it's an interesting concept. It's like, while we're sitting here just dealing with all this stupid stuff, there's tons of money out there. How do people gain access to that stuff? And like, how would you mentor somebody that's like, I want to make a lot of money? Hold on. There you go.
The money is out there. Everything is already there. It's how you attract it to you. And so I fully believe in manifestation and the law of attraction. You visualize it. I believe in, the book Think and Grow Rich. Every morning of my life, saying what I want before I go to bed, I think about it. I'm consumed by it. And it's funny because it keeps increasing and keeps getting better. It's not like a money number. It's just where I want to be. And so it has to come from believing, because if we believe we can, our energy starts to go towards that, and anything you put your energy into will grow. And so I think the first place is cleaning house. Our mindset has to shift, because if you don't believe it's possible, it's not possible. It's just crazy. It's not going to happen. You believe it sounds impossible. It sounds huger than you can even imagine. But I believe it's possible. Guess what? It becomes more and more of a reality. So I believe in that manifestation. I can give you story after story after story how that has happened. And it's just, until you show me it's not possible, it is.
I love that. One of my favorite quotes. It says, if you can't go there, but you have to point at the head. If you can't go there, you can't go there. It's like, just look at your kids. Suzy's got amazing kids, and whenever they start their campaign of wanting something, they don't just ask for it. You'll notice that children have this ability of like explaining what it's going to be like when they have it and how awesome, and selling the value of it and stuff. Because when we're children, we have that ability. There's very few limitations on how big we're allowed to dream. That's why kids say, I'm going to be a princess, I'm going to be an astronaut, and all that stuff. But all of this stinking thinking is what we learn along the way when everybody starts telling you, how to play it safe and everything. So, Suze, I know that there's a lot of stuff coming, and you're starting to, as somebody that is a really good friend of Suzy, like I swoop in every now and then and make sure she like drinks a glass of water, because sometimes she moves very fast. But she's very focused on full scale health, physical, mental, and financial. But tell us what your vision is, because you just mentioned you just had one of your biggest, breakthrough months of January. And I know that you're starting to rub shoulders with big people, and you're starting to move into a new sector, delegating other stuff. So what can we expect to see out of Suzy Heyman in 2022?
2022, I put it on the back burner and it's almost done, is my book. It is the HomeBased Business CEO, Zero to Empire. And that shows anyone, it doesn't have to be in one specific genre, but it shows everyone how you can do it. There is a certain formula to it, and anybody can be successful working from home. And I was doing this before working from home was the thing. So it's pretty amazing how anybody can take their current situation and change it up at any position in their life. You can reinvent yourself. So that's one thing. The rest is, I really want to get heavily into investing. It's always been a dream of mine. I said, I want to do apartment buildings. I want to do storage units. I want to do RV parks. I want to do anything that has, lots of people and it's constantly moving. I love that. And I believe it's very lucrative. And I want to do deals with friends. I want to just always have revenue streams coming in as they mature. So that's very important to me. Also, I want to take advantage. I never understood, as I was coming up financially, we all start at the basics. I told you I started with Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover. So that's very generic, for America. I never understood how really tax savvy people did certain things. I just never knew, because I wasn't privy to that information. And so I would go to my existing accountants at the time, and they're like, no, they would talk me out of it. No, you can't do that. And then I would move on as my financial situation changed, and they would still. And now I feel like I have the right players where they're guiding me tax-wise, that there's legitimate things that we all should be doing that will forward us and keep the most money for ourselves. And it's, while playing above the line in every way, which is firmly what I believe in. So I hope this year, one of my goals is to invest in a plane that, that I can have for my own personal use, but also, will fly around and be making me money. And when it's leased out, that's a big thing. We're moving in 3 weeks. A whole different lifestyle is coming towards us. We're going to be in a country club community, which will be good for my children. I'm going to learn to play golf. And I do move at a very fast pace. And sometimes I'm told often that I have to focus on self-care. And so that is my goal this year. I want to take some time and really find joy in things that bring me, that get me out and moving. Like I want to do golf. I want to, I'll probably get into some tennis clinics. I never played either of those. So I'm excited for what this year can bring, but also the new people that are coming into my life. I literally love being the least smartest person in the room. I love that. I'm like a sponge. I love to surround myself by all of this knowledge, and I'm a great question asker. I know what I'm looking for, and I just keep asking until I find it. So that's what I have in store this year.
So everybody loves this. Great, amazing nuggets. Definitely, this is going to be a re-listen. Do your best in 30 seconds to a minute. Explain to us how you wake up and get ready for the day.
Well, I wake up early. So if you ever see, I'm online early, but I wake up before anyone. I like quiet, and my mind just works its best when I'm uninterrupted like that. So a lot of people have different routines. They do yoga, they do meditation. I just get in with my own head and I'm the most creative. And I think of all the things I have going on and what's the best way to move them forward. So that's definitely how I start out. Then I like get out all the way, all my things I have to do, the little stuff on social media just to move my business forward. I get that out of the way. And then I'm a planner. Like I can tell you, like I'm like a chess player. I don't play chess, but I should. I know everything before it's happening. Like I am just several steps ahead on everything. And I will tell you, I have more going on than most people, and I'm on it. I'm on it. And I believe that time in the morning before anyone's awake is the time to take care of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I love that analogy of the chess playing, because I think that, most people do nothing. I would say 90% of the world does nothing at all, right? And then you've got this pretty decent sized group of people that do something, but they don't follow through and do the extra something. So, the reason why there's so few people at the top of the mountain is because of that chess analogy. It's like, it's just a little bit of an extra, what's the difference between try and triumph? It's a little oomph, so Suzy's oomph is showing up by her getting up in the morning. And I do the same thing. I like that quiet time. I like to get all of the transactional stuff that I know needs to be done so that I can get into the juicy stuff and start playing chess per se. So I love the idea that she just shared about not only taking action in support of what you want, but also playing it out, like considering and we can't get attached to outcomes, but just playing it out. And what I hear is that Suzy is in control of her life like that, so that's awesome. Suze, awesome to have you. This was just action packed, full of great stuff. Thanks so much for being a guest on the Rise Up with Dragon podcast. Any closing thoughts?
Well, I love this. I love spending time with you. If this is how I can get it in, I'm going to take it. I just want everyone to know, I have absolutely failed. I've absolutely failed a bunch of times in my life, but you don't hear about that because I don't give it energy. I recognize it and I move on because I can't control what I can't control. So that is a big part of the mindset here and manifesting what you want to happen.
I love it. So that is a wrap. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Not sure what the name will be, but you'll see it once it's posted. But just as a quick reminder, we're in a new series. We're completely changing the format, where the Rise Ups on Mondays and Fridays that'll be live will be 10 minutes, action packed, just focusing on the urgency of now and just packing everything in, because we really don't know. We can strategize and we can do all this stuff that we just spoke about, but the truth is we don't even know if we have this full day. So we're just going to really focus this series on now. And as a heads up, we've got the new podcast coming out all about NFTs. Everybody's asking about this, like, hey man, you got to teach me that stuff, so that you're going to love that podcast. If you are completely inept and you don't know anything about it and you're frightened to death about like thinking about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on like a picture of an ape, just relax and and enjoy that podcast. That'll be launched soon. Suze, love and appreciate you. Everybody have a wonderful day. And this has been awesome.